No small talk today?
No, let's just get after it, man. It's gonna be fun.
We must have a big guest.
We got a guest. I don't know if he's big. But we got a guest. So anyhow,
What?
let me hold on. Wait. Silence in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Prop Culture Podcast. I am your host, Matt Trader, and to my left is my tag team partner, Mr. Shane Snoots. And today, we have a very special guest, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Hollywood, California. The man, the myth, the legend, real estate agent, stand-up comedian, and the greatest dating coach in the game today, Mr. Paul Roseberry. Paul, what's up, brother?
Yeah!
Woo! Yo, what's up, guys?
Not much.
Thanks for having me. I'm pumped.
Thanks for being on, man. Thanks for being on. So how's things out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
How's things in LA?
What's
right
that?
How's things in LA?
Dude, it's, what is it, 8 o'clock? So there's probably most of LA is on the highway right now, like the whole city at once, not going anywhere. So I'm glad just to be inside, having some coffee, hanging with you guys.
I hear you. Well, look, man, so you just meeting Shane. We've been chatting it up a little bit on the Zoom before we started the show.
Yeah.
But for those of you for those out there who don't know you in our area, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us something about yourself. Yeah. Let's break the ice, man.
Wait, there are people over there who don't know me? I got to go, man. I thought this was cool. I don't have time for this. You know what? I got the wrong. Man. All right. We'll fix that today, though. We will definitely fix that. Yeah. So, like you said, I got a lot of real estate background. I worked in leasing in Manhattan for several years. I've done home sales out here in Beverly Hills, which is kind of pretty cool. But I mean, like, my real passions are stand-up comedy and dating / like relationship coaching.
Yeah.
So, and to be clear, the dating relationship coaching gets serious. There's a lot of like structure and building in that, but the most fun about it is that it comes back to comedy in the end. Like everything, come on, if you can't laugh about what you're doing, stop, go home.
That's right. Everything's got to come back to your passions at the end of the day, you know? So look.
Yeah, man.
Out here, we're in a completely different market. And we don't really want to delve too much into real estate. We want to talk more about comedy and dating coach and what makes you tick, right? But we have to ask about real estate, right? So out here is a completely different market. What is it like selling homes out in LA, out in Hollywood, man? I mean, it's got to be crazy.
$1,000 a square foot low ball. $1,000 a square foot. Dude, just to get started, just some basics. The kitchen might need to get gutted. But if you want a 2,500 square foot home, you're going to need close to $3 million.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So if that doesn't make you just go home and kiss your fridge right where you are and never want to come out here, I don't know what would.
I know taxes
are terrifying, dude.
Taxes are probably bad out there too, right? Or taxes pretty high?
Oh, they're out of control. Dude, they're out of control. Yo, I got a buddy who bought a place for like $850 a couple of years ago. Doesn't have parking.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
Bought a house. Doesn't have any place to park.
I mean, are people just riding bikes?
None.
I mean, what's the? Do you have? I mean, there's a lot of people with.
No, he has a car.
So
he just figures it out, dude. Dude, he had to go get one of those signs that says "Do not park," like illegal or whatever. But you know the ones that are from the city. It's like the one you bought at Home Depot. And he had to put that on his own fence to scare people away from parking in his spot.
Dude, that's wild.
He got $1 million home.
So what's he doing, like the George Costanza?
It's $1 million house.
Like parallel parking, like down the street somewhere else on a regular basis? I mean, just to, you know.
I couldn't imagine.
Dude, it's just a juggle.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine there's a lot of walking or bike ride. Isn't there? There's a lot of dicey areas, isn't it, in L.A.? Just in general, like downtown
Most
LA
of it.
is pretty
Most of
dicey.
it.
Like you're not.
Dude, I saw.
No, like
downtown. Don't even. No, man. You just drive through downtown just to like a roller coaster ride. You don't get out. You just look around.
That's what I couldn't unless you're in like the hills or something like that. Like I could see that, but I don't think you're walking. I don't think you're biking, brother. Like,
no, nowhere, nowhere.
So
no, like literally the only place you would ever bike really is a bike path on like Venice Beach. Like in the sand, they have a paved out. That's it. That's why would you get run over, dude? You don't even forget it.
I feel like a lot of people have talked about how like LA is just like a different. It's like a completely separate place than everywhere else. Like LA living is
as it should be.
Yeah. Like
that's positive in the sense that it means that it's been contained so it doesn't spill out into the rest of the good world. That's how I hear that.
it's but everyone who talks about it is like, it's such a, like, there's so much going on there. However, it is just a different world. Like, it's a completely different world that's going on than, say, here in Salisbury. Like, it's, you just said, you know, before we came on, you go, I was up until 1 doing a show, and then you're up at 5, you know. So, like, that's like common, I'm sure, for you.
Yeah. I mean, like, I like it to be kind of, you know, not necessarily both of those on the same day, you know, but like, yeah, man, you know, like I really enjoy doing comedy. So I like to get out there, and sometimes that's going to be some late nights, and it's going to be a little bit of that whiskey going on, maybe a little tall boy out there in the parking lot, you know, but, yeah, you know,
so you're
a comics dinner right there.
So you're from New Hampshire originally, right? And that's a completely different world than LA. So what's it like, you know, being from New Hampshire and showing homes out in LA, like knowing where you came from?
Well, if we're going to be totally clear on where I came from a trailer. Okay. So,
dude.
Yeah. When I was little, dude, when I was real little, we were out there in that little aluminum village. You know, and so like not anymore. Fortunately, you know, I've had some aspirations. I'll be mild, but nonetheless some. And so it's really funny to be showing like a hedge fund manager who makes $27 million a year, you know, a house that costs more than, like, if you did a 23andMe and you found all my family and you added up all their incomes for like 11 generations, this dude has that in his checking. You know what I mean? So like, I'm standing there, and this dude will, you know, these guys will ask me questions. They'll be like, yeah, so like, what do you think? Is it a good deal? And I'm like, a good deal? No. Terrible. You out of your mind? This is like 3,200 square feet for $5 million. No, what's wrong with you? You don't even have a view. If you went in New Hampshire and spent that money, you would be the governor, just automatically. You would just be. You get a helipad, you get horses. You know, like, no, this isn't a good deal. Space is a billboard.
It probably gives you a lot of perspective, though, coming from that part and then like going out that way. It's like everything is obscene. It's literally notched up to 1,000 in LA. It has to be. Its perspective has to be.
Oh, dude, a month ago, I was in the house. Have you heard of The One? Did you guys hear about this over there?
No.
What is this?
It was originally listed at $500 million. It was a single-family home.
What?
Personal private residence, $500 million. That was the initial listing. Then it came down to 3. And then I was there for the bankruptcy default party.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Yeah.
I was there for the bank party, trying to get agents to do like a last run to get this thing moving. I think it sold for like 162, 168, something like that. $162 million in bank default. The place was, 40? Was it 100,000 square feet? Yeah, I think it was 100,000 square feet. The guest house was 40,000 square feet and had a nightclub in it.
Dude, that's like the size of shopping centers. That's insane.
What do you need that
for? For sure.
Who was living?
You don't, and that's why nobody bought it.
Was there? Who was living? Whose house was it previously? Was this a famous?
No, it was new construction. It was a fresh build. The designer had been on a tear of building like really big homes, and it just, you know, I don't know what would have happened if COVID didn't happen. Maybe that was part of it. Yeah. But I mean, like you immediately, Trader, you said like a shopping mall. You can't get comfortable in this.
No,
you can't. Dude, we all walked around. I mean, we're with the biggest real estate agents in the city. Like all of your flags and all of, I mean, just everybody. And everyone's like, I mean, this ain't home. You know, like if you were skiing in Aspen and this was the resort, that would make sense. It doesn't, like, how do you walk around your underwear? you know?
That is true.
How much is too much? I guess, you know, that's kind of crazy.
That. And still, again, going back to my humble New Hampshire roots, 160 million, like this, it was still a house. You know what I mean? Like once you walked around it and you kind of got a grip, you could figure out, you're like, okay, you know, I get it. And the land wasn't that big. It was the top of the hills. So you had the vantage point. You knew you were king of the hill. But like, I mean, you couldn't like play wiffle ball with your kids probably. You know what I mean? Like not, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't sprawl like Trader. I've seen your backyard. Looks like Wrigley Field, dude. You got this place beat.
That's a good analogy.
Right?
It does.
Yeah. It's like, there's something about, like you said, it might be a big house, but there's something about home. You know, coming home like from college and smelling mom's home cooking. I don't know that you would probably get something like that out there, you know, because they probably have maids, so had that mom's cooking anyhow. But
she wouldn't know you were there.
Yeah, she wouldn't know you were there.
She wouldn't know you were back.
Yeah. You could probably have some fun as a teenager in that house, though.
Dude, I want to hear more. Listen, I hate to pivot on everyone. I just want to hear more stories about you doing comedy at the shop.
That's really what we're here for.
Like
now.
I want to hear about that. Like I didn't mean to cut anybody off. I just you know what?
No.
Good. That's what we're here.
I think I want to. I'm so interested in that part of like. So tell me, like, you know, what's your set? Do you just make your rounds or all that kind of stuff? Like, what is that? Look like?
So yeah, I'm getting around all over town, and the thing is that I'm really in that phase. Like I kind of started late. I always knew I was into comedy, and I've been writing comedy. Just like I'd be at work and I'd be scribbling notes, kind of like Dangerfield. He had like a bag of comedy notes. Mm-hmm. He was like 38 or 42 or some crazy shit when he got started. So I've been writing forever, but now I'm getting out a lot, and so I'm kind of trying different angles, and I'm getting into like. I'm finding what makes me the most excited to talk about. You know what I mean? Like I'm fine. Like, cause when you first start, you watch a lot of comedy, you're like, all right, I can go in this direction. I can be kind of like this. I can have a crowd that's not going to get offended and everyone can enjoy it a little.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can go a little hard on the edge and only 2 people are going to like it, but they'll love it.
Yeah.
You know, so you're kind of finding that sweet spot. And the thing that I've been working on the most lately is letting people know about me, because as a comic, see, I grew up in like the observational comedy era, like in the 80s, 90s, just like you guys did.
Yeah.
You know, where Seinfeld comes on and he's like, how about parakeets that fly in the mirrors? You know, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, you know, I don't know who you are, you know, and I didn't care. I didn't care that people didn't know about me, because the way I looked at it, I thought that was vain. I'm like, let me get this straight. We're in a comedy club, so that means we're in a dark room. You're sitting down, I'm standing up. You're in the dark, I'm in the light. You have to be quiet. I speak into a mic, whatever comes to my mind.
Yeah.
And then to add to that, I'm going to talk about myself.
Yeah.
Like that sounds, you know what I mean? That sounds like a dick move. But I've come to realize the thing is, like, people want you to scratch an itch.
Yeah.
That's why they're there. People have some pressure from their week. People got some things that have been stressing them out. They want you to be relatable, talk about the same kind of problems they've had, and funny ways that you solved them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of half of what's going on, you know?
Well, and I think it's like, you know, I've always loved comedy just for what it does and brings to the table. For just an average person just listening. But like for a comedian to stand up there, you get instant feedback. You know, either that joke is great or if it's going to bomb.
Yeah.
Like, and listen, I hate to put you on the spot, but like, tell me a situation like when you like bombed, like how does that feel? What's going through your mind? If you're bombing, like what at that point, are you just like, let's ride this thing through, or like, you know?
You know, all right, so that's a great question, because I'll throw you an answer you might not hear often. So like last night, I did a set, I did like 10 minutes, and I did well.
Yeah.
I did well. I was smooth, I was steady, the crowd was with me, I did well. I listened to it on the ride home because I was recorded on my phone. I got a little tripod and I record every set. And I hated it. I was like, that sucked. Forget it. Yeah. That's you know what I mean? So like, it's like when you ask a comic what it's like to bomb, normally they go right to the, as you said, immediate response, silence, which is easy. That's actually easy because you can address it in the moment. All right, we're not together on this one. Let's pivot. Let's just cut and we're going to go this other way. And if you're at all awake, you can save it, probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, probably. You might have to cut from talking about family to talking about being at the store. It could be anything. But a different kind of bomb, though, is when, like sometimes you'll hear guys like Bird, you'll hear comics that I refer to as like phoning it in.
Yeah.
And that's when you're doing a routine that you know the angles, you know it works, you know people like it, and you don't give a shit at all that you're doing it while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you don't even say, like last night, I didn't realize I was doing that. But what happened was I wanted to do some stuff that was fresh. It was new. I wanted to try it out. I wanted to see what the response was and see people if they were with me or if I need to like modify it a little. But when the host introduced me, he referred to me as the dating coach. And for that reason, I had to start there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be kind of weird if I didn't, you know, like this dude, like he made this whole intro, like fictitious story about me helping him. So it wasn't like a casual mention. Now they know this guy on stage is a dating coach. They got to know about it. So I'm like, all right, but I didn't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, that's kind of a bomb in a way.
Well, no, it's good. It's good, honestly, because I talk about this a lot. You know, the people who experience and they push the envelope, I think they have more shelf life. They last longer. Like 50 Cent. 50 Cent just made in the club every song, and eventually it gets old. And when you go into a show expecting that, there's not as much appeal. But when you offer the audience something different every time and you keep them guessing, you know, it's like me, like with the videos I do. It's like sometimes I might be at a graveyard and sometimes I might be, you know, dressed up like an old lady. But I'd never want the audience to ever know what they're going to get, because why are you going to tune in when you know what you're going to get? You know, so I love that, man. I love that you're pushing the envelope. You mentioned, you know, the era of everybody being offended. How hard is it to write in this era right now? It's got to be difficult.
Can we like speak freely on here? Is that like, I mean, I'm not going to get super, but like, can we say shit? Is that all right?
Oh, you can say shit, drop F-bombs, you know, but go.
Dude, I'm not going to drive out there and Will Smith you, so don't worry. Don't worry.
So, yeah, dude, you know what? I just don't give a shit, really. You know, like, I just don't. Like, I'll go out there and I'll say whatever I want. And, like, sometimes you'll get those crickets. Like, dude, I talked about some trans stuff last, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, something like that, in like, a small show. And I will stand behind everything I say. Like, I don't just go out there and just say stuff just for shock value. Like, I have intellect behind what I talk about. So I'm not going to go out there. Yeah. And I don't go out to offend people. That's not what I'm into, you know, but what I like to do, I like to take tough topics. I like to take, you know, hot topics that are like scary to touch, you know, like, ooh, cause if you say it wrong, you get canceled or, you know, no. And I go in and I try to slalom that shit, dude. Yeah. I like to get right in there and I like to find that edge where you didn't even think you could go. And I just take us on a tour, like a little tour bus. And at the end, we all come right back to where we started. No one died. No one got hurt. You know what I mean? The lions came right up to the side. They might have been roaring our faces. You know, and it got scary as shit. Some people might need some new underwear. But we're all good.
Yeah.
And no one, you know what I mean? So that's when I get into it. And so there's nothing that's off top. I don't give a shit, dude. In fact, I really liked my trans material that I was talking about because I would tell it in a trans room. The thing that actually ruined it for me at that time, I had to put it on ice, was because Chappelle blew up with his trans stuff. And I was like, I don't want to sound hack. I was doing it a couple months before he had his big surge, but I was like, I don't want to sound all bandwagon. So you kind of dial it back. But as far as your question, the era of, you know, taboo, that's kind of what gets me into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of, because otherwise, you know, like, I'm not here just to, like, anything I tell you, I already laughed at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to give you something you haven't heard before.
And I know you well enough to know that, like, you know, when you're making jokes about people, there's a lot of times you're actually, like, defending the culture. You know, you talk about trans. You made some great points about the culture, you know what I mean, within those conversations. I think I've heard some of those routines, you know. But, you know, comedy's like poetry, man. If you're not pushing the boundaries, I mean, you're not doing it. You know, that's what poetry's all about. It's about pushing the boundaries. You know, there's not really any rules to it, you know. So
Well, I think like when did it change? When did this change from where like it was okay for everyone to be, we were okay. We were comfortable enough as men, women, whatever you consider yourself, whatever topic you are, you were okay. You could pick fun at whatever it was. When did it not become that way? Like, it just seems like there was a switch.
Social media.
It was a switch. Well, that's what I think. The social media where you could not pick on whoever it was, and I don't want to offend anybody's pronouns or anything like that. So, but I mean, in terms of that, it was like, we were all comfortable enough to be made fun of. That was a sign of love. Like, that was a sign of love or someone paying some kind of respect. All of our friends, my best friends, we have a boys' weekend every year that we go to. And I'm literally the butt of every joke or somebody else's every day. It's nothing but a roasting session. But none of us go away. So you think it kind of was the social media era that kind of highlighted all of that, or?
Yeah, because see, dude, basic Darwinian existence theory is it's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Right? So that means that along that way, if you can't carry your own ass, then you're out. Your genes are gone.
Yeah.
Don't need you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's how we've always survived until social media. Now the weakest can bitch as loud as the toughest. In fact, the toughest probably say the least. Strong and silent. Those two words go together commonly. Strong and silent.
Yeah.
But the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so now it's that little guy. It's the one who has, think about it. Twitter, a tweet. That's like that there's no baritone in a tweet. That's a little squeak. It's a little, someone stepped on me. And so now everybody has to stop what they're doing. We got to stop the whole pack from moving forward and figure out why this one little squeak got stepped on. And now we're not progressing anymore.
Yeah.
That's not progressing. We stop the whole troop to figure out how to make sure nobody is uncomfortable in any way. What? No. We gotta keep this bus moving, man.
Absolutely.
We can't.
Shane's right. Like, grow up in the we grew up in the you and I, Paul, born in the 80s and basically grew up and got our comeuppance in the 90s. And I always tell people all the time, these kids today, if they grew up in the 90s, they would have pissed their pants because our pop culture was ruthless. Ruthless. Like, if you weren't making fun making fun of each other was like a term of endearment. It's like the Gran Turismo or whatever the movie with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
You just ragged on your friends.
Awesome movie.
That's just the way it was, and that's just the way our culture was, and go ahead.
It's how you get tough.
Yeah.
That was how you got tough. Like siblings beat each other up a little bit, and then you get to school and you're not afraid to play a sport.
That's exactly
what I mean.
Like that's say. That's exact. You're like, I have two sisters, both of them older than me. They picked on me. But I never didn't think I was never like, they don't love me. You know what I mean? Like, they picked on me as a form of love. Like, I always think comedy goes back. Some people can be malicious, right? But I think for as a comedian, your job is to make people laugh. Your job is to do that, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know where. I get so it's so a hot button issue. You see Rogan, you see all these people in the news now. All these comedians that when we were growing up, they would never be on mainstream news about saying something, right? Like a joke offended someone, but now it's almost common. It's like weekly. There is a comedian in the news about something that they did, or it's crazy. Like, it's just insane. And we're coming off the heels of the Chris Rock. Was it Oscars event? And it's like, at the end of the day, it's just so crazy to see how we've evolved to this point where everything is offensive. So I'm sure you.
And I think.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say the thing that always, and especially more so now than ever, that I've always liked about comedy is there is no HR in comedy.
Yeah.
There's not. We're the last group who does not have HR.
Yeah.
Like, the public is our HR. And you know what? As far as that goes, some people might hate you, but if you think about it, a number I always like to consider. All right, so New York City has 8 million people living in it, right?
Yeah.
It does, in case you didn't know. But anyway, it's got approximately 8 million. Now, if 1 in 100 people liked you, out of 100 people, you walk down the street, 99 were like, fuck that guy. But like one person was like, no, I'm with you, dude. Yeah, I like the way you think. That would cut you, let's see, 8,800,000, 80,000. That would leave you with 80,000 people. You know what Madison Square Garden holds? Like 18?
Yeah.
So if 99% of New York City thought you sucked, they couldn't stand you, they think that you're a jerk, they want to cancel you, but 1% was like, nah, man, this guy actually, I kind of do agree with him. I can't say it out loud, but I'll go down to Madison. You'd sell it out 4 times.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think
4 times.
I think what you're saying is kind of it's probably the issue a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I think we do need to be more socially conscious. There's nothing wrong with being more socially conscious. But I think the thing is comedians today have so much influence. Like if you can make somebody laugh, you can direct them however you want them to go, and they have a large platform. So it's if they're saying something that the powers that be doesn't agree with, well, let's shut them up. I mean, that's right.
And the thing is that it actually does help you. I mean, like everyone loves Chappelle. I love Chappelle, but I do think that he's found a little bit of what a lot of companies have found, which is how to get some free press. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he knows what he's doing a little bit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to come full circle because you're a dating coach too. So like, how does this what you're talking about has to, in essence, affects the dating world too, right? Like, because you're talking about someone like instant gratification, social media. We've talked about social media, right? And how that's impacted everything. And so like, how does like you being a dating coach, how does that affect, you know what I mean? Like
I love that question. I love it. And I'll tell you exactly what it is. In dating, the first thing you've got to realize is that if you want to have success in your relationship, you can't need from it.
Yeah.
You can't go into a relationship needy. It's one of the worst words either party can hear.
Yeah.
Or find out that the other person thinks about them. Oh, he was too needy. That's how a guy gets dumped. That's how anyone gets dumped. Because if you're not relatively whole in your own self-comfort going into the relationship, then you're going to be sucking from it. Remember, There Will Be Blood, the straw, I drink your milkshake.
Yeah.
You're going to be trying to drink the other person's milkshake. Yeah. You're always going to be siphoning from the relationship. And that's what this person's doing at Starbucks when the tit is out facing the crowd, no towel. They're trying to siphon. They need something from the rest of the room. And that's why the rest of the room is like, why are you putting me on the spot? Why are you taking, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Exactly.
So in a relationship, if you can go in saying like, hey, if this date goes well, that's fantastic. If it doesn't go well, I'm still well. Because I got this thing that I've been meaning to catch up on Netflix. I got 2 episodes left, and my night's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I hope I like you. I hope you like me. But I'm not going to whip my tit out to beg you to like me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like a guy, and a guy who, instead of a tit, maybe it's his Ferrari or his income or, throw it at you so that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like where that question came from.
Is that something that you probably preach all the time to your clients? Like, don't, it's like, is that rule 1? Is like, don't chase?
100%. 100%. Because, dude, the scenario I paint for a lot of guys, like I always say, I coach nice guys.
Yeah.
Right? I coach nice guys because assholes, for one, they half time don't even know they have a problem.
Yeah.
And 2, they wouldn't admit to it. The last thing they're going to do is ask for help with it.
Right.
So fuck them. You know what I mean? Like hey, let them do their own thing. My first rule is I don't coach people who don't want it.
Right.
I'm not out here preaching gospel. You know what I mean? I'm not going to push it on you like I'm knocking on doors. But if you ask me for help, you're probably a nice guy who thought, very common mistake, because you're probably raised right by your mom. You probably had sisters growing up. You're a good dude. You probably thought being nice was pinnacle.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, you hear about all this domestic abuse. You hear about guys who never bring their girl flowers. You know what I mean? I'm going to be really nice. And then what happens? You get smoked. You get smoked. You get run over.
Yeah.
Dude, chicks are that's not numero uno.
Yeah.
Nice is a fantastic bonus.
Yeah.
But it's not what it comes down to is security, right? It comes down to security because we're still cave people. We're not that far ahead. And the way I see it is that women know that at some point they're probably going to be pregnant and holding a child and caring for a child. And they can't be physically, out there hunting and defending. So they know for a period of time, they need to be able to trust their man to carry everybody.
Yeah.
Not the whole time. Not the whole time. That's not cool either. But she's got to know you can do it for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she'll test you.
Yeah.
And she'll mess with you. You know what I mean? And she's not being mean. Yeah. She's not. It'll seem like it. If you're only nice and you don't understand why it's happening, then you won't know it's coming. And you'll think that she's attacking you, and you'll cry. And she'll know you don't have it. You don't have it. But if you know what security means and you know how to just be playful back and like, look at you trying to play with me, then she's like, oh yeah, that's a man. He knows how to do this. And so that's what I help these guys to understand is to what security means. Like prime example. Do you know the male lion doesn't hunt?
I didn't know that.
No,
I didn't know that.
The male lion does not hunt. He's king of the jungle. Doesn't hunt. His wife carries the babies, raises the babies, hunts for the food. All he brings, to crudely put it, is balls.
Yeah.
Like reproductive and security. Balls. He brings his balls. That's what he brings.
Right.
That's it. He sits around all day. And if some hyena gets stupid for a minute, he just yawns kind of. And they hear that and they're like, oops, just kidding. Oops, my bad. Forgot you were a lion. So, you know what I mean? Like the sooner you can teach guys what security means, then they can start to kick a lot of ass and women are naturally going to be attracted. And the way I was put it, nice versus security, I think you guys will like this. It's a very clean analogy. Okay, so say you got a tree. So security is the trunk, nice is the leaves, right?
Right.
Now you can have a trunk with very few leaves. That's still a tree.
Right.
Right? But if you got all leaves and no trunk, that's not a tree at all. That's a bush. And every girl already has one of those. She doesn't need a second from you, and you'll be out the goddamn door.
Oh, no.
I teach that.
Yes.
I teach that.
So
that's solid advice, to be honest.
So do you have a lot of guys you're coaching right now? Like, what's your portfolio?
I got a few.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. What I've been doing is I've been working with a smaller kind of handful of guys over time, because what I'm doing as I coach them one-on-one, I'm creating a syllabus, if you will. That's what I really want, because as you guys know in business, half of success is scalability. You've got to find ways to leverage your time so that you can be more available to the things that need you live and present the most.
Yeah.
So I understand if I'm doing 1 hour sessions and I'm trying to work 40 hours a week, I can't even do 40 people a week, because you got to have a few minutes in between. You got to process, you got to take some notes. So scaling wise, what I'm really trying to do is to create, I call it an operating system, like an iOS.
Yeah.
And when I work with guys, I don't just teach them how to talk to girls. Like that kind of, you figure it out as a function. I'll strip it down to the bare nothing.
Yeah.
I'll get down to like, what's your schedule like?
Yeah.
What are your other relationships? How, just, are you a mess? You know what I mean? Like, do you feel good? Because I want to build you from the ground up so you're comfortable and excited about who you are. And then you have personal value. And once you have personal value, that's a currency that is valuable in dating, at work, with your friends, with your family, and just when you close your eyes at the end of the night.
Women love.
So I build from there up.
Yeah.
Huh?
Women love a guy with confidence. I mean, confidence makes everybody stronger too. So what you're talking about is you're building these guys' confidence. And it's funny because I was going to ask you if you like, because women love guys who are funny, right? And so I was going to ask you if you like are coaching these guys on how to be funny, though. I don't know if it's something you can really teach, but I didn't know if that's something you maybe help with too. Like a joke coach.
Not directly. And I mean, I 100% agree with you. Like, I love being funny. I always tell people you should watch a lot of comedy. I even tell other comics when I meet a younger comic who's just getting started, I'm like, how much comedy do you watch? And if they say, oh, none, because I want to be all original, I'm like, well, you're an idiot. You need to go watch as much as you possibly can. You've never had this much comedy streaming at your fingertips. Get on YouTube, get on Netflix, get on Hulu, get on Amazon, watch everything you can.
Yeah.
Because you want to, that's how you learn comedy, is by listening to it. Like, if you naturally have it, fantastic. And listening to it will make you stronger. But if you feel like you don't have comedic timing or just right. It's a lot of it's algorithmic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
We talk about this all the time.
You know,
Shane and I both watch wrestling, and a lot of the
right.
cadence that I use when I'm introducing you today, a lot of that comes just from me watching wrestling as a kid. So but
I felt it.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, though. Yeah. So, but I tell you, it's funny, like, cause like segueing back to, the breastfeeding routine. I'm sure you probably are going to have some women who watch this that are going to be offended, and hopefully we don't get canceled for it. But the good news is you are out there coaching and producing better men for these women to date, right? And you're creating not just for them, but better people that they can, experience a better lives for themselves. So you're doing the world a service,
Dude, all right, look, I'm sure. Have I ever shown you that? You ever seen that?
Holy okay. That's
is your mom
that's a hot take.
Is your mom okay with that? Is your mom okay with
My mom, dude, she was not when she first saw it. No, when she first saw it, she thought it was about her. I'm like, are you nuts? No.
Because that's
because listen. Yeah, I know. But what it also is, I have a cousin older than me, like a different generation kind of cousin, one of those, you know. But like, he has a woman's name, and it's not his wife. It's neither of his two wives. He's just had it his whole life. And I've always thought about that, because the reason I pointed out, when you're talking about making better men for the women, 100% that's what I do. I didn't become a dating coach because I just, rolled out of bed 5 years old and it all just clicked and I started getting laid, as soon as whatever. No, dude, I had it uphill. I was as a kid, I was fat, I was poor, I stuttered, I was vegetarian in the 80s, dude. In the 80s, it wasn't cool. You get your ass kicked.
You were we'll keep it PC. You were a pleasantly plump vegetarian? How does that work?
Dude, and I had a mullet, and I had
that's awesome.
Well, the reason is because, because, and as far as the vegetarian being fat, it's because you don't get full, like when you have a chicken breast. You know what I mean? Not to keep it all on tits this whole time, but like when you have some meat, it fills you up. And when you don't have that, then you just eat carbs. Dude, I'd slam a whole loaf of bread just making toast. 2 pieces at a time, 4 more, because I'm not full. Nothing satisfied me. And I was a really tall kid from a young age. Yeah. So I was hungry. And but my point being that dating was not easy for me. It was damn near impossible. Everything was uphill. So I had to organically figure it out, trial and error, trial by fire, dude. Chicks were not in. Even when chicks started to be into me, when I finally, came into my own as a late teen and started like be decent looking and stuff, and had shed off that childhood, I still lived in that childhood.
Yeah.
I hadn't let it go. I still thought I was the fat stuttering, dork.
Yeah.
Why would that girl ever go on a date with me? Why? So I had to figure it out. So that's why I know this stuff. It's not because I'm cocky and I just, dating's no big deal. No, it's because I broke my ass. I got that tattoo when I was 21. And it was because dating was kicking my ass. I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was so mad. It wasn't a casual interest.
Yeah.
It's sex. It's relationships. I need to figure this out. You know what I mean? There's no getting around it. It's like, if you don't know how to find water, you're going to get water.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to have relationships and eventually, be in something good, monogamous. That's in order to, it hurt me enough to do it wrong that I took good enough notes that I now have created, a sequence to kind of how to make yourself more attractive, ultimately to the women. I say I'm a dating coach for men, but it's for the benefit of the women in the end. It's for both.
It sounds more like you're a life coach almost, like in a way. Because it's not even just about dating. It's trying to make someone be just confident in their everyday life, which like goes all the way through, which will affect relationships with everyone, I think. So I think that's huge. That's a huge part of it is kind of not just dating. It's like you're helping them be better in their everyday life and everything they go through.
Yeah. And really, dating there's a lot of salesmanship in dating. You got to sell yourself to the other person, right? And
100%.
The reason I'm going with this is because we kind of got to wrap this up. So I want to bring it all the way back to the beginning. We were talking about, you being a real estate agent, right? And now you being a dating coach, a stand-up comedian, and there is sales involved in all of that. Where did you get your first sales training? And I kind of already know that. I'm kind of giving you a little softball toss here, so you can kind of go through and explain where you got your start there with the Life Alert. So I want Shane and the audience to hear the story.
Oh my God,
it's classic, and it will be a great grand finale to this episode.
All right. Well, so I'll give you two little pieces. One, the very first sales was from being an awkward kid.
Yeah.
And getting picked on and made fun of in school. And being, like I said, you never want to be that one guy with the opinion no one else shares. I felt that way through a lot of elementary school and really, getting bullied and picked on and made fun of. So I had to fight my way out of that situation. And that's where salesmanship began for me. I had to sell that room on something other than teasing me, which for me became comedy.
Right.
I had to have jokes that were funny enough that they started thinking about something else.
Yeah, and if you can make fun of
and
yourself,
then if they laughed at it.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, sometimes
if
you can make fun of yourself, sometimes it takes the power out of their jokes against you. So I would always do that. I always rag on myself. That's the way it's like, what can you say? The guy's making fun of himself. So, and if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at, right? Yeah. Well, go ahead. I'm very sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, it's all good. But so that's kind of the root. But what you're talking about, we will mention, we'll kind of condense it a little bit, but I've had every sales job under the sun. I've sold everything you can think of, door to door, business to business, over the phone, all that. One of the craziest ever, I worked for Life Alert. And for anyone who it doesn't ring immediately, pardon pun on ring, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah.
That company. We've been seeing the commercials since we were a kid.
Yeah.
So I was on Craigslist just skipping around, seeing what was available. And I saw an ad for, you could go work for Life Alert. It had a base and commission. And I'm like, oh, I am going to crush this. Are you kidding? What could be easier than selling Life Alert? So I show up and I'm all excited. And they're like, yeah, all right, you think you're going to kill it? I said, I'm definitely going to kill it because I thought it'd be easy. It's not.
Oh, no.
It's not. Dude, so here's what happens. You go in there thinking, we've all seen the commercials. The commercials are on TV. The old people call in. You're not making outbound cold calls. They're calling in.
Yeah.
And you just grab their info, shoot them the thing, right? It's all set. So they call up, they ask for the button. You're like, cool, so far so good. And you're like, cool. Yeah, all I need is your name, address, and a credit card. And they're like, credit card? What's that for? And you're like, oh, no, what? It's to pay for it. It's $50 a month.
Yeah.
And these old people didn't think it cost anything. For some reason, they thought it was like a government agency and it was free. So you got to be like, yeah, it's $50 a month. You know what they say to that?
Oh.
They tell you, forget it.
Oh, no.
And then you're sitting there being like, wait a minute. What are you going to do? We've established by the fact that you called that you need this medical device in your life.
Yeah.
But if we forget it, then what?
Oh,
where do you go from here?
Oh,
yeah. And then they say to you, I swear to God, a lot, not once, a lot. They'll hit you with, for $50 a month, if I fall, I don't care if I die.
Oh, no.
How do you...
And you go, what the hell?
Dude, this is just...
How do you sell to them?
Dude, you start shitting yourself because they don't train you on that, man. There's no prep.
Yeah.
There's no overturn to that objection. It devastates, it wrecks your soul because even though you're in sales, you're still a human. And you just heard this old person who called you for help tell you $50 means they'd rather cash out. And you're like, oh, my God, dude. Oh, my God. So you take a break, kid. You got to go outside. You got to get some coffee. You got to collect yourself. And you start thinking about it, because for one, it's your job. You got to pay your bills. But also, two, shit, it's like your civic duty now to figure out a way to get them to buy it so they stay alive.
Yeah.
You got to help these people.
Yeah.
So I sat around, and like I said, there was no training. So you got to come up with your own. You got to just figure shit out on your own. So I started to piece together a collection of little facts I had learned, because you learn little stats. They throw you random stats here and there. And it all clicked for me one day. I called this one woman back, Gladys. We'll call her Gladys. That's an old name. I'm like, hey, Gladys, remember me? 10 minutes ago, you said your life wasn't worth $50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Listen, you make a great point. If you die, nothing matters. That's a valid point. I'm a third of your age. If I get hit by a bus, you're right. Nothing matters to me either. You know, I'm gone. But we're not here in case you die. This is fucked up. This is sick. We're here in case you fall and you don't die.
Oh, gosh.
I had to say that. I had to say that to old people. I had to put that on them. What if you don't die? Dying is the best case scenario. Not dying is the problem that I present to them. What if you are still alive despite a fall? And then they pause, and you're like, yeah, because I got you listening now. I've got you on the hook. Now we're going to do this. And I reel them in. I start hitting them with the facts. And I go, listen, did you know that 2/3 of the accidents in the home for senior citizens happen because people fall and get stuck between the tub and the toilet? Did you know that?
Oh, man.
They go, no. I said, did you know that they get stuck there for usually days on end? No. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
That's the truth. I said, the only way you're going to get help is if you have our button, or if a neighbor can hear you when you yell. If you yell right now, could your neighbors hear you? I don't know. Do you have a tub? Yes. Do you have a toilet? Yes. Well, you better get your goddamn credit card, Gladys, because it sounds to me like I'm about to save you. You're stuck between your tub and your toilet 3 days straight.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's how you sell Life Alert, man. That's how you do it. You got to scare the shit out of them a little bit, but you're saving their life. You're saving their life.
You are.
It's twisted, and it doesn't feel right, but it's God's work. And I did that shit, man.
But you role reversal the guilt. That's a successful role reversal in the guilt.
How do you know what I mean? You go sell Range Rovers. The worst thing you're worried about is maybe the payment's a little higher than they should have signed up for. You know what I mean? But you still feel good. They got a cool car. You know what I mean? You sell shoes. People got some cool Nikes. You're selling Life Alert. You're taking them to death. You're holding them up to the Reaper's face. And you're like, you wish you could kiss that Reaper. You wish, but you can't. Back here with me because you're still alive. Yeah. Let me help you, Gladys. You're in the trenches, and you're lucky we're on the phone right now because in an hour we won't be, and that's what I'm trying to resolve. Oh, no. I'm trying to be there for you. I'm trying to be there for you.
Oh, my God.
Oh man,
that's it, man. Life's weird.
Yeah.
Life's weird.
But you can't teach overcoming that type of objection from a client, man. That's
no, sir.
Our customer.
No,
That's
no sir.
But look, another thing you can't.
Dude, that's devastating.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, I mean,
disturbing.
You
disturbing.
You have everybody in the studio. We're all devastated, man. I mean, you've this.
And that wasn't instant, by the way. That took a couple of weeks to curate. I mean, I listened to a lot of "I Don't Care If I Die," where I'm like, well, I hope sooner than later. I don't know. Like, I didn't even know what to say at first. Like, good luck.
How do you say anything
with death? Took me a couple of weeks to really craft that disturbing scenario.
Reversal of guilt.
Well, Paul, I think you've left,
and it worked.
It did. That did. You've got it down to the point where, I mean, I don't know why you left there, because you might have been the top sales guy. I mean,
dude, it was because it was hard, man. It was just like sad. It's sad. I'm not dead. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wanted to be dead. You know what I mean? Like,
after
that Life Alert job was keeping me alive.
Oh my God.
I was stuck between a tub and a toilet doing that job.
Oh,
yeah,
exactly. That's rough.
Oh,
and that's every
miserable.
phone call too. That's the worst part. Is
all day. All day.
Is every one of those phone calls was that exact same thing. And I even thought it was free, to be honest with you. Like, I legitimately.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure they were devastated when you were like, it's $50 a month. They're like, yeah, you can go ahead and I'll just fall over.
Guess I die. Yeah.
And then you're.
But dude, and you would hear stories, because what made it messed up too is that you would get success stories, right? You get testimonials every day. There'd be a new one. It'd be like highlighted. They put it on your desk, and it would say shit like, Thomas D. From Nebraska was stuck between his tub and his toilet for 4 days, covered in his own piss and blood, until he was dehydrated at a hospital for a week before he could go home. And you're like, oh my God. Yeah. But because he had our button, I guess that guy, that's, people would say that's why they bought it. That is when that's part of what helped me to realize this, because we get those stories and say, the reason his kids bought it for him, the reason we bought this for my dad was because he was stuck between his tub and his toilet for 3 days. No one knew. And then now we're excited to have your button. And then last week he pushed the button and it was a false alarm, but we're just glad it didn't. Like, for real, dude, it's like, you hear these harrowing stories. Yeah. But you hear this, and then you're like, I guess I have to take you there in order to, like it. 100%. Because I know if you don't buy it, that's going to happen.
And that's
so like, I'm not just scaring the shit out of you, like.
I wouldn't be able to sleep. I literally wouldn't be able to sleep.
I won't be able to sleep either. And speaking of sleep, we appreciate you coming on the show here
Yes,
today.
brother. Thank
I know
you so
are
much.
allowed to sleep. We're kind of getting the signal to kind of wrap this up, man. But look, we appreciate you having me on the show. We really hope to have you back if we're not canceled after this episode.
Yeah, my bad if that happens.
Yeah, we're probably we might be. No, that's all right. We'll all go out together, brother. It's been fun, man. We'll all go out together.
6 episodes. It's been fun.
Yeah, 6 episodes. It's been real. Remember that
one side business, one side business, the other side party.
And this one time we did a podcast.
Yes.
That was fun. But look, man, seriously, Paul, man, brother, man, I appreciate you, man. I know that it's nothing but love, everything that you say, you do, and with much respect and love, man.
Always.
We appreciate you coming on, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you, man.
Guys, thanks again for having me. Oh, and for what it's worth, Dating Coach Comedian on Instagram and YouTube, Paul Roseberry, Roseberry. Sounds Jewish, but it's not, but I'll take it. I love when people
call
think
the man. Seriously,
Roseberry.
he'll work wonders for you. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me, guys. Nothing but fun.
Thanks, brother.
All right, peace.
Thanks.